Hello and welcome to another episode of Random Musing. Thank you so much for all the love that you guys are giving to the third season now. I think I've screwed up on the numbers of episodes in my introductions of late, but I think this is the 31st episode. This is the it's a very special episode. Let's just keep it at that. Okay. I have always said in the beginning of every episode, I've realized that this is a person I wanted right from the first episode, and I'm finally getting a chance. And I realize it's true for all the guests. So I'm not going to repeat myself. Just assume this episode onward that everybody who's coming now, I have wanted them to be a part of Random Musings right from the first episode. But you have to nicely stagger and, plan your seasons like that. So today's guest is also very, very special. One of the best comedians in India, one of the best comedians in the world, so to speak. Now I think we can say that with some level of confidence. Not a writer, a fantastic person. Again, just like most guests on Random Musings, every interactions I have had with her have been fantastic, and that is why I felt that it deserves that we talk in public, so that all of you can hear her thoughts on many topics that we have in this episode. So without further ado, let me call Uruj Ashfaq here. Uruj.
Hello.
Hi, Uruj. I want to say in the intro itself that you are now in Indian pop culture history because of all your other achievements, but most importantly, you were an answer on KBC.
Yeah, that was so cool. That is the
That
peak
was,
of my life.
and we have a connection there because I was the option for phone a friend for that episode. Okay, so just right here is where I'm sitting right now. I was virtually watching that episode with, like, I was waiting if they take phone a friend, I'll come on screen, and I was just waiting. It never happened because they never took phone a friend in that episode. But was constantly asking where have they reached, what question, etc. And then Manu, as you would know, Manu was there on set. He was giving me constant updates, and he said they just did an Uruj question. I was like, what? So I was actually one of the first ones to find out that there was an Uruj question there. And he said, oh my God. And they said, I knew that obviously they'll answer it. It won't come to phone a friend. But that would have been crazy. If it came to phone a friend, I would have said your answer on KBC. Oh man. Oh, but
Yeah.
does it feel surreal, Uruj? Did you think a few years back, for example, that you'll be an answer on KBC?
I mean, no, I thought the only way I'd get on KBC is if I did some sort of crime and then I was
Yeah.
the answer for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
This was wild. Actually, the thing is, you didn't tell me.
Hmm.
And no one from OML told me.
Hmm.
Of course, Zakir also did not mention it. And I think everyone was probably, I mean, he was on the whole show, so he had a lot going on.
Hmm.
But everyone else was probably like, let her find out when the episode
Yeah.
comes
Hmm.
out.
Fair.
So that was pretty great when it came out because
Fair.
I'm glad it happened that way because I was suddenly just really surprised and excited.
Fair. At least I thought that, because when I thought I'll message you, then I'm like, it's gonna be crazy feeling that if you watch the episode and then it comes. Yeah.
That was too good. And also, that was when my relatives took my thing seriously, my fringe thing, my award seriously, and started calling. And they're like, what is that award that you were talking about? And everyone was like, in my village, it was pretty funny. So I'm from Ratnagiri, and there's a lot of there are like 5, 6 villages from which most of my family is.
Hmm.
So my mom's and my dad's village is like वो 10 मिनट दूर है एक दूसरे से. So once this KBC thing happened, all my family members started calling my mom, and they have a lot of WhatsApp groups now for kitty parties and just general things. So usme they started writing mere dad ke village ka naam, that she's from this village, and then they genuinely had an argument in my family about why you're not writing my mom's village's name when you are circulating that she has won this, she has, and it was like, it was for the first time after I've been in stand-up for 7 years that my family members were not like, ye kya kar rahi hai? And they were like fighting, and I was like, thank you, Amitabh Bachchan. It has taken you to validate my career.
Wow. Wow. Urus, but this award that happened was at Fringe Festival, right? And people who don't know about Fringe Festival, obviously you'll tell more, but One Line Intro it's one of the world's most well-known festivals, like performing arts festivals. Some claim it's actually the biggest in terms of the ticket sold, etc. And it happens in Edinburgh in Scotland. and you were a part of that. So I want to start today's episode with your experience at the Fringe Festival. I've been to Edinburgh, but I haven't been to Fringe Festival. So I've heard a bit about Fringe Festival secondhand from my friends who've been there. But of course, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. How was the feeling? And then just the whole festival, and then the award, of course. And not just the award, you actually got rave reviews from people who watched it, like on publications, online, offline, and fellow comics and everything. So I just want to know it from you straight, firsthand.
I'm so glad that we're starting with this because everything else I have to say is quite boring. uh, but actually, okay, I will go chronologically. Fringe Festival, you know what it is, but I'm yes, we have to say it again for whoever's watching. Is one of the world's biggest arts festival, if not the biggest arts festival. It has everything, not just comedy. It has dance, music, theater. It's amazing. You've been to Edinburgh, so you know the whole town. It just becomes one big like festival ground. It's not like it's at one place. It's everywhere. Um, it's incredible because there are shows from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. and there are like thousands of shows every day. And I think at one point I was watching 5 to 6 shows every day and then doing my show and taking like notes about what I liked from different shows. And I think it's 2023 I went to perform, but 2022 Prashasti and I went to just watch the festival. We were blown away by it. We were so studious. We were there for like 7 days and I think 8 days. I think when we saw like 4 shows a day, and or 5 some days, and we were just like really inspired. And I really wanted to come back to the festival, and I know Prashasti also does, and I think she would do so well there. It's just that there's a translation thing where she does comedy in Hindi, so she would have to like translate all her material and stuff. But I was like, okay, I just really want to come and perform here. And Soho Theatre made it happen. And then I went and I performed. And it was, first of all, it was really great because I did a mini fringe here in Mumbai. So I was doing my solos like at least 4 times a week before going to make sure I was really prepared for it. And actually, after I came back from the fringe, I remember Biswa, me, Prashasti, and Saurav Mehta were hanging. I'm saying Saurav Mehta because once I said Saurav Mehta in another interview, and someone wrote that Saurabh Pant.
Okay. Yeah, let's clarify. Yeah.
Because when you say Rahul or Rohan, you better like say which one. So I was like Saurabh Mehta. They were at my place and I was like, I want to win the Fringe Festival. This is my secret dream. Don't tell anyone. And they were like, okay, we believe in you. You can do it. We won't tell anyone. And they never brought it up again. Then Biswa happened to be one of the artists who was coming to Fringe with me, and Sapan was also coming. And then there were other Abhishek, Nirmal, Suhani, everyone was there. But Biswa and Sapan, obviously, I know them the longest. And we had such a great time because we were watching shows together. We were going and doing our shows. We were bitching about the audience. Aaj achhi hai, kal buri thi. Reviewers aa rahe the, and we were all like, hame mat batana reviewers kab aa rahe. Just so you know, I got 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star review. And Biswa told me that someone in Edinburgh told him that if you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's called a Fringe Grand Slam because you've got all the stars.
Wow.
Biswa was begging me to be very bad one day and get a 1-star.
Get one also. Yeah.
I was like, my mental health cannot take it. I can't take 1-star. 2-star review was highlight. Because when she came to that show, the reviewer, and this was the only reviewer who was taking notes while I was bombing. So I'm performing and it's going badly and she's writing. I'm like, can you stop doing that? That's really stressful. But that happened. There were reviewers. It's a very extensive process. They also went through it, and it was actually, your self-esteem really changes every day, because we were all going through arcs of कि हम यहाँ क्यों आ गए, हमारे देश में क्यों नहीं कर रहे हम कॉमेडी, यहाँ आ गए हम गोरों के लिए कॉमेडी करने के लिए. Then we were like, नहीं, गोरा वाला क्या होता है, this is an arts festival, हम आर्ट करने आए, हम कुछ सीखने आए हैं. So every day the narrative was just changing. And of course we all learned something from it. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge came to watch my show, which was insane. Daniel Sloss came to watch the show, which was also, they came, and that really helped like push more tickets because Daniel Sloss also gave a shout out and stuff. But I don't really know how so many nice things happened, but I was very happy. And I have to tell you one other story is that these guys know I'm a very nervous person. So when Phoebe Waller-Bridge was coming, they didn't tell me. And Rishabh Nahar from OML, who you know, and just for context for everybody else, is like the manager, the top boss. He was there with us at the Fringe. So what he did was before the show, he went and he tried to figure out what's the darkest corner of the room. हम ना फीबी को वहां डाल देंगे ताकि उरूज को स्ट्रेस ना हो और वो देखे ना उसे but we are brown people so we hide differently in the dark than Phoebe hides in the dark. So when I was doing the show वो चमक रही थी उस कोने में and I could see her. I was like oh no मुझे 10 मिनट में दिख गई वो. I was like it's Phoebe. However, so besides अपन you leave me alone before a show. They know कि अगर 8 बजे मेरा शो है मैं 6 बजे जो भी hang out कर रहे हैं end करके अपने Airbnb चली जाती थी and फिर मैं I would just drink coffee, I would lie on the floor and I'd just be stressed. That was my process. And so they would never bother me or anything and they were doing their own thing. But that day Biswa called and he was like I need a charger and I got very irritated. I was like he knows my process. Why is he calling me and asking me for a charger? It's like annoyed. I was like, these male comics, they always want something. And then I went to my venue and Biswa is there. He's taking the charger. He's just staring at me and he's like, we all really believe in you. We think you're very funny. And I'm like, why is someone dead? Why is he talking to me this way? And he's like, I'll be waiting for you when the show is over. And I'm like, what are you saying, man? And I got on stage. 10 minutes later, I saw Phoebe Waller-Bridge and I was like, Biswa is such a nice person. I don't know why I was thinking bad thoughts about him. Because I was like, he's just trying to motivate me to perform well. But then that one went well. Luckily, next day Daniel Sloss came. That one also went well. Then I bombed for 3 days, but I was like, कोई बात नहीं. जो 2 show में अच्छा करना था, वो 2 अच्छे गए.
Wow.
And it was just the festival was amazing. Then the nominations happened, and that was also nice. And nominations पे तो मैं satisfy हो गई थी. I was like, फिर उन्होंने award भी दे दिया. I was like, पागल हो गए ये. लगता है भाई सबका show बहुत खराब था.
No, you're just being humble. But 2 facts I wanted to tell our audience before we move on. That since Uruj brought Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Fleabag actually started at Fringe Festival. Fleabag used to be a one-act play there, and then it became so popular that it became a show. So that just adds context for you guys to understand what Fringe Festival is. And Saurabh Mehta is part of Random Musings season 1. Okay, so there's no confusion between Saurabh Mehta and Saurabh Pant. Saurabh Mehta is part of season 1. Please go back and watch that crazy episode. Okay. So, okay, beautiful. We talked about Fringe Festival, and a lot of people are actually also interested as to, because you talked about Prashasti and translation bit, etc. So, as a comedian, as an audience, also, you're like, what should Indian comics do when they perform for an international audience? Especially, and just I'm clarifying here what an international audience means. So, when you're a famous Indian comedian and you travel abroad, so you put your own tickets out and all, it is mostly your fans who come for your shows. Okay, but for a festival like Fringe, it's a very mixed festival. Like people from all over the world are coming and watching you, right? And for example, you said when you went as an audience, you saw 4 shows every day. Not necessarily you were going for people who were fans of. You're trying to explore new shows. Okay, so I think a lot of people also wonder कि क्या perform करते हैं, etc. क्या करते हैं. And I know a lot of your material which you did there and which you're doing now has to do with therapy. Right. So I want to now talk about therapy, and not just as a stand-up material or topic, but I know it comes from your own personal experiences with therapy. And therapy is a topic that we have explored on Random Musings, but otherwise also is what basics I know of therapy, and I don't do, so I don't know. So you'll obviously have a better understanding. But what I understand, it's very like you have gym for your physical body, so you have therapy for your mental health, right? It's very like it's your thing where you'll tell in detail. But I want to talk about what part therapy plays in your life as a person, and of course as a comedian as well.
So I've studied psychology. I did my BA in psychology, where I met Sumera, your first ever guest on
Random Musings. Yes.
Yeah, Sumera and I are college friends. 3 साल हमने बहुत बकचोदी की जय हिंद कॉलेज में, and we were always, Sumera and I were always doing some jokes and some gangs. We loved psychology, but every time there was a disorder that was very serious. You know, we just look at each other and pass the most inappropriate chits and jokes on those disorders. That's where I met her. We did our BA, and both of us really did want to do our masters in psychology also. But neither of us got into any colleges. Actually, I think Sumaya didn't even bother applying. I applied and I didn't get into it. I did all the exams, but entrance exam में pass हो गया. But वो मिलने के बाद they didn't like me. And I was like, oh my God, that's so painful. And now my job is trying to get people to like me every day on stage, which is like, I couldn't clear a one-on-one interview. Actually, Christ College, I went and I really rubbed the teachers the wrong way over there. They're a little conservative about clothes. So I think we had a bit of a disagreement on it. But anyway, so I didn't get into any colleges. And then Sumaira and I were like, "ठीक है, हमारा कुछ नहीं हो रहा, हम क्या करेंगे?" And so we would go to CLC to watch open mics, and then we started going, and then we started doing open mics, and that's how we started comedy. But in a way, it's like psychology has pushed me to comedy because it helped me understand myself. Also, what it helped me do was, because I studied for 5 years, 11th, 12th, and 3 years of BA, I studied psychology. I feel like I'm very comfortable with talking about my feelings, about emoting, and about mining my feelings. It's one thing to feel your feelings, it's one thing to talk about your feelings, it's another to also offer it to strangers every night, because that's a lot. And somewhere I think it wore me down. You know how when we go on stage now, we have good nights and bad nights, right? So the first bad night really hurts. उसके बाद bombing is just like, यार आज bomb हो गए, then you live again. 3,000 लोगों के सामने bomb हो गई. I'm like, how can you humiliate me now? There's nothing left. So it's that, like, psychology helped me be vulnerable, and I did not realize what a strength it is till other comics told me that the fact that you can go on stage and talk about your feelings, your therapy, your childhood issues, your personal life is huge, because we don't do it. We hide behind something else. Hide behind an observation or a smart comment, but you just go and say कि ये मेरे साथ हो रहा है. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a good thing. So I would credit studying psychology with that, and then I would credit going to therapy with that, because when you say something on stage, it should more or less be somewhat, unless of course you're playing a character and you're flawed, and that's the joke, which is also part of it. But if you understand what you're talking about start to finish, suppose my feeling is insecurity. I say I'm a very insecure person. Now, if I have to make a full bit out of this, I need to understand that feeling, not just know that I'm insecure, why I'm insecure, where I've been insecure, where the jokes will come. But also start to finish, what do you do about it, right? You don't just leave people being like, मैं बहुत insecure. You gotta end it some way, and that will require understanding the emotion, giving them some sort of closure. तो therapy से मुझे वो मिल जाता है कि मैंने ऐसे solve कर लिया, by the way, X issue. तो I bring up the issue, and I also have to be like, कैसे solve किया है, वो भी थोड़ा बता के, you know, to end it. So I think उसमें psychology and therapy has been very, very helpful to understand myself, to understand my friends, to feel empathy for generally most people and where they're coming from. And I just, that it really helps. I think it's made me better in a lot of aspects of my life. So yeah, and I think more than usual, I did have I had a lovely, wonderful childhood. I have wonderful parents, but of course we had problems also. And so yes, so of course it's helped me deal with my childhood issues, be more empathetic towards myself, towards my parents, for where like they would have been coming from. And also I think it helps me manage a room when I'm doing crowd work, in the sense that I can read. I mean, most comics can. This is a comedy skill actually. लोग तो room manage कर ही लेते हैं. But because I feel I cannot manage a room with the force of my personality and attitude, क्योंकि मुझ में वो नहीं है, right? There's some comics who just get on stage and you're like, अब कोई आ गया है stage पे, they have like a force of nature type of vibe, and that's fine because every comic has a different vibe, and that's awesome. I love that, but I know that I don't bring that to the stage. So I feel like empathy, comfort, warmth, goofiness. So that therapy and psychology also helps me bring to stage and create an atmosphere, because you have to create some sort of an atmosphere as a comic. So I think I try to make the room loving, because that's what I can do. because I can't make the room like, I'm not tall. My main problem is I feel like if I was just दाढ़ी होती है वो थोड़ी लंबी
Yeah.
होती है तो मुझे लोग सीरियसली लेते मेरी ऑडियंस मुझे सीरियसली लेती नहीं है, they just keep heckling me throughout, but it's fun because they don't mean it rudely, so I don't mind.
I mean, that's wonderful. That we often wonder like how, and we sometimes people criticize saying कि जब comedy करना था तो ये क्यों पढ़ रहे थे? Like अरे engineering ही करनी तो फिर MBA, because sometimes we don't even realize consciously or subconsciously how much our formal education sometimes helps us in our art. For example, studying psychology, listening to you, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like a BA course, whatever you studied is helping you in such different ways in comedy. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just fun fact to our audience, just another throwback, just like Saurabh Mehta, is that there have been 3 psychology graduates in this random musings. Okay, there's of course Sumera Sheikh, there's Urush, and there's Manvi Gagru, who was the season finale guest of season 1, who is also a psychology graduate, who spoke at length about psychology on random musings. So wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so Urush, from your story, what I realize is, and I also from my memory of you back in when Sumera and you used to be these 2 young writers in the room with like, "Arey, ye log bahut funny hai yaar, ye log." But I remember, and I know that from college you went straight, you started comedy almost right after college, and I often think about it, the pros and cons of that, because for people like say me or Rahul, we came into comedy way later in our lives. Like we did a lot of other things. Like I did my first open mic. I'm not even saying first like YouTube video. My first open mic was when I was 30, you know. So so I often when I do college shows, and that's one thing I do a lot, like within my stand-up this thing. I barely do like open mics or this thing, but college shows is something I love doing. Okay. And every time I meet like the college students where I perform, a lot of them come and say, "Sir, मुझे comedy करनी है, stand-up comedian बनना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, क्या करना होता है?" And my first reaction, like I don't say it, but my first reaction in my mind is, "Oh my God, this guy is like in his late teens, and he already knows that he's gonna do comedy, and he might actually do it like 1-2 साल में." And I go saying, मुझे नहीं पता यार कि क्या करना होता है, because for me it happened way later. Like I did all sorts of things before comedy happened. So I really sometimes feel envious, because by the time these kids are at 30, they would have done comedy for 10 years, and I'll be like, man, for us it was zero years. But I also feel nice sometimes, thinking that this was not my whole life. Like I've done a lot of things. Like I know I've this done this whole life of being an IT engineer and coding, and then this whole life of preparing for CAT and going to MBA, making PPT, and this whole life of brand manager, and that also helps. Like we discussed about psychology and this thing, that helps me a lot in my comedy career, where I do conversations with brand and I tell them, guys, 1 second, let me just wait, let me that really helps. And like you said, even in crowd work and reading the room, with your experience and your context, you understand, okay, where is this boy coming from, where is this girl, what is she trying to say, etc., etc. So I want to know from you the pros and cons of starting comedy right after college, like literally your first job, so to speak. Like
Yeah, my first job was with AIB and we were writing with them. And that was, I mean, cons, I know what the cons are. The cons are that you lack a lot of perspective in life. If you don't do your 9 to 5, if you don't do your other jobs, the thing with comedy is that, of course, a lot of writing work does not have structure. So you might be at work all day.
yeah.
Um, and you might be at work for 8 hours to 9 hours, but you might just write for 1 hour and stuff,
Mm,
so you will feel like, as just out of college, you'll be like, आज मैं 11 बजे गई और घर 11 बजे वापस आई हूँ, I've worked so much.
mm,
But you haven't, you were तुम सुट्टा पी रहे थे, तुम कुछ YouTube पे चीजें देखना तुम्हारा रिसर्च का काम है.
mm,
फिर तुम कॉमिक्स के साथ जोक मार रहे थे, तुमने आधा घंटा बिचिंग कर ली, फिर तुमने वापस थोड़ी राइटिंग कर ली, and it's like, I think it makes you a little spoiled. I feel like I have been a little spoiled. I have been told over and over again by my colleagues and my friends very kindly in a very good natured way कि babes आपको पता नहीं it's very hard out there. And then I really took that on board, and then I started feeling like I should be more grateful because I don't know what it's like to have to answer to a boss, like a not like a traditional boss, like a traditional boss, not like Tanmay who's like you're like मैंने नहीं किया काम तो he's like okay कल कर ले like one casual boss. um Abish was my boss for a time. Can you
Yeah.
imagine Abish being your boss? He's
Mm.
so sweet. What
Mm.
is this? There's no hierarchy. So
Mm.
discipline to hai nahi. That is one of the things ki I lack discipline. I lack perspective. I can be very ungrateful and I can feel very bad for myself sometimes. You know, my life is so hard, and then I have to just be like, it's not, and you have to give yourself a reality check.
Yeah.
But you have that, like that for you, it's inbuilt.
Yeah.
You've done a job, you've had discipline, you've answered to bosses, you've been a boss.
Mm.
You just know what life is and how the world lives.
Mm.
So when you show up to work, you show up with like more of an adult than I do, and I take time getting there. So I think that's the con. And also, I'm very bad at corporate shows. And that's a huge con. UK corporate shows have so much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm so bad in that setting because I've never worked in an office.
Mm.
I did a show with Rahul Subramaniam, and I am sure you and Rahul Subramaniam are queens of corporate shows. You know, of course, you guys are, and a lot of you are really good at it. You've had jobs, so, I mean, you are, and you deserve to be. But I went up and doing random like dark jokes, and then they're just like, "This is not the vibe, babe." And I was like, "I actually don't have any other material." I was like, I know that's not the vibe. I was like, मैं क्या करूँ? मेरे पास यही material है, मेरे पास कोई context भी नहीं है. So I will destroy us, obviously. Freaking, and उसके बाद हम उतरे नहीं. He's like, you know, you can do some HR thing, or you can ask whose boss is who. And I was like, Rahul, you're giving me very solid advice, but you have to understand, I don't know how this hierarchical structure works.
Yeah.
तो crowd work करने के लिए भी मेरे पास, like, I don't have context. तो that way मैं पैसे भी बहुत मिस कर रही हूँ corporate shows की, which I wish I would get. So that's another con. And pro is probably, I don't really know what to, I guess more time. I get more time to do something. So like you said, I get more time, so I will probably, but that I will say ki people, we do that ki before 30 she's done this, and before 30 I didn't do this, but I don't. Who cares? Who cares what somebody's done before 30 and what you've done? End में life के end में कौन देख रहा है कि like क्या फर्क पड़ता है ना कि 20 साल के अंदर हमने 5 achievements कर ली, 25 के अंदर हमने 5 achievements कर ली, 30 के अंदर हमने 5 कर ली. This is bullshit. Like it's a bad way of keeping track of your life. So that's the only.
But this one thing that comes out of this, Uruj, is doing comedy straight out of college is also a certain privilege that you get right from the fact that you were born in Mumbai or you grew up here. I mean, if you were, say, in any other city, it would have been virtually impossible to do it. Like barely few exceptions in this whole country. To just after 12th, if you like after college, if you felt like doing comedy, you'll have to move to a new city and then start afresh, pay rent and multiple things. And this one topic I explored with a lot of my Mumbai brought up friends. I remember I had a conversation with another Mumbai comedian back. We were trying to shoot something or work some sketch or something. And they had said that, अरे नहीं करना ये काम यार, नहीं ऐसा बकवास में नहीं करता कॉर्पोरेट शो, समथिंग लाइक दैट. एंड आई वाज लाइक कि भाई जब रेंट भरना होता है ना, तो थोड़ा वो फिल्टर ना वो हो जाता है आपका कि भाई कर लेंगे यार, आधे घंटे बेइज्जती करा लेंगे कॉर्पोरेट शो में. Because then I had recommended to him, and that since then I think about this topic a lot, is the fact that one has to live alone, or like to understand certain things that you always take for granted. Like it's not just rent, there are just too many things that come from just being alone. Like when you're with your parents and family, there are so many things that are just automated. You don't know how much your electricity bill was last month. How would you know? It's being paid, like Wi-Fi and grocery and helps ka salary and like cook things are just, it's just there. And then it's only when you move out that you start seeing, oh ये बिग बास्केट और ब्लिंकिट इसका इतना आ जाता है, रेंट एंड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल एंड वाईफाई ब्ला 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 ब्ला, एंड देन इट डज अफेक्ट द डिसीजंस यू टेक इन कॉर्पोरेट. लाइक इट्स सो इजी टू जस्ट क्रिटिसाइज कि वो ब्रांड वर्क है, ची डिड यू सी व्हाट दैट गाय, बट यू लाइक नहीं, मतलब दोस्त जिम्मेदारियां हैं, खर्चा करना है एंड ब्ला ब्ला. एंड आई नो दैट यू फाइनली moved out and you started living alone now in Mumbai. So I want to understand from you this whole difference or this experience or this growth in some sense that has happened from moving away from your parents' place to a house of your own.
Oh, actually, yeah. I mean, first of all, though, living in Mumbai is such a huge privilege. I have been told time and again by my friends who are not from Mumbai, who are comics. I'm hitting my couch like they're sitting here. I don't know why. So Prashasti and Saurabh Mehta are sitting here and yelling at me. But it's just it is such a huge privilege to live here, to be able to pursue comedy, क्योंकि रेंट नहीं भरना है, मम्मी पापा खाना बना के दे रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं है, बस ओपन माइक जाना है और कैब का खर्चा निकालना है या किसी बस का खर्चा निकालना है, and that's just a huge privilege. Everybody else who comes here has another writing gig or has a job, is paying rent, is living with 3 other people, and so if they do corporate or if they do brand work, which I too fully do, I love brand work, love it so much. Please give.
Yes, same. Just please, both of
Give me so I can be artist. Give me brand work, then I'll be artist on my other time. But yeah, I've always accounted for that also. What a huge privilege it is to be born in Mumbai, and ki Mumbai comics can sometimes not understand that at all. And when we talk, it can be a little bit shallow sometimes, because what is your issue, right? So it can lack that depth. Your problem can lack that depth, but so that I realized for sure. But 3 years ago I moved out, and I moved from Navi Mumbai to Bandra after I did CPL on Netflix, a show that has mixed reviews, to put it lightly. But I don't feel anything negative, or I never felt shamed, because I wanted to write jokes and I wanted to be paid handsomely for it. And it has enabled me to be extremely independent and move out of my house.
Wow.
So, yeah, generally, like if any other comic is like, that's weird, I'm like, you sit on your high horse and you do your thing. I'll be a sellout. I'm fine with it. She's like a brand work comic, or she's like this. इस शो को हाँ बोल दिया, उस शो हाँ बोल दिया. I'm like, तूने तो वो भी नहीं किया और ये वाला भी नहीं किया. It's annoyed. This part is just pure anger. You can just highlight it. Uruj bitching. But I'm like, like you said, people have certain privileges and some certain high horse, and I also do. But I would just never judge or compare. And I take whatever opportunity comes my way. And moving out has been wonderful. Living alone has been wonderful. It's made me really grateful to my parents. It's made me more responsible towards my parents. I want to contribute to their household, run mine, do nice things for them, like vacations or cars, or whatever I can afford at the time. And घर का चलाना is, like you said, you don't realize. Grocery मंगानी है, electric ठीक करना है अपना, कभी plumbing नहीं चल रही है, society में problem हो रही है, society वालों से बात करनी है. और मैं बहुत सफाई रखती हूँ. I have a problem. तो वो तो मैं करती रहती हूँ साइड में. Like I vacuum my house like 7 times a day, even after help has come and gone. So I realized, and I learned a lot, and it's made me a lot more calm to live alone. I realized when you live alone, you can go through whatever cycle of feelings you're feeling without being viewed. So you can sort out a lot of things without an audience, which is family members or friends or whatever. And also living alone helps you trust yourself in the sense that you're like, I have my own back. Truly, I have my own back. In every way, financially, emotionally, physically. It's just me in this house and I'll be fine. And I have a great support system. But 5 दिन भी मुझे मेरे घर में अकेला कोई छोड़ देगा तो I'll have fun. So I'm just like, okay. Of course, I have my cat, who you guys saw.
Yes, we saw.
And I love her so much, and I know you have Arya.
Yes.
Is she outside?
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir, but that having a pet also teaches you so much about responsibility and love.
Yeah.
So, and she actually, she's the society cat. Basically, she's little. She just showed up outside my house. मैं उसे बाहर खाना देती थी. फिर वो अब अंदर आने लग गई. Now she has a litter, she has toys, she has bed. अभी उसका घर है. When she wants to go out, she meows, she goes down, she comes back up. But I'm responsible for her. So when I'm going away for like comedy festivals, I have a friend who will stay in the house and take care of her. So this is anyway. So it just helps. Like like it just adds.
Yeah.
Also, I've stopped eating mutton because of her, and I obviously wasn't eating other red meats. So generally, I've stopped because I feel like really bad for animals now, which is very new. And my goal is to stop eating chicken also soon. Massive fish count.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this topic we'll explore in future episodes for sure, because I also go through the same conflict of being non-vegetarian and pet lover at the same time. I'm like, this is not making sense, but it's too tasty and they're so cute. Like, what to do?
That's so cute.
But yeah, we'll park that. Bruce, throughout this episode, one recurring theme in your life has been friendships. Because you spoke about how you and Sumera were college friends, and from that part to just fringe, maybe you're being with colleagues who are friends essentially, whether it's Prashasti first time and then Biswas, Apan, Abhishek, Sulagna were all your friends. So I want to talk about friendship because I also consider myself a person who really nurtures and values friendships across my lifetime, different stages and etc. Even within comedy. Like I remember Abhish when he wished me birthday recently, like happy birthday HR of comedy. And I felt like, whoa, okay, fair, makes sense. Okay, so I want to talk about friendships and what role do you think friendship has played in your life, Uruj?
Yeah, I mean, I know you really nurture your friendships. I'm at your birthday parties every year.
Yes.
And you have so many, you really have a lot of friends. And I know you invest time in those friendships, which is lovely. So, I mean, I also feel the same way. I feel like it is very important to invest time in your friendships because, families, you have to invest time in your family also. There's no other way. And you have to really love them. But it's like they can trigger you a lot in different ways. And with family, it's so easy to take them for granted because ye kahan jayenge? Tum kaise bhi. So it doesn't I think it doesn't help me practice good behavior. I've practiced good behavior because your friends can leave you, right? You can't mess with that beyond a point. And I actually, I tell myself, please treat family like you treat friends. Treat them like they can leave you, even though they won't. But it kind of, so it kind of makes you spoiled. But friendships don't. Friendships keep you on your best behavior, but also really make so much space for your worst behavior without taking it personally. You fight, you come back, you fight, you come back. You have multiple friends. So you can pause a friendship without worrying about it going away forever. And you have other people who care for you and you care for them the meantime. I think there is a sense of like acceptance in friendship that there's in nothing else. I could do the most insane thing and I'll sit my friends down and be like, so this is what I did. And they're like, it's crazy, but you're a good person, so it's okay. And then we'll go over how I should not do it again and why I did it in the first place. And same thing, you have to offer that time and investment to your friends. So I think my friendships from school, college, and another Mumbai privilege is that I get to keep my school and college friends around unless they've moved back. So I definitely have that. Like my school friends are around. Some of my friends have left, but they have left. Like this is their base. You must actually have to really maintain friendships, right?
Precisely. When you travel for a show, I usually take one extra day at every show just to be with friends. Like if I have a Bangalore show on 9th, I'll come back on 11th and not 10th. So that one day is for friends and just Bangalore group, Calcutta group, Delhi group, Toronto group.
Toronto is a really fun one in there.
Toronto is my favorite. Oh man.
Yeah, see, that's amazing. Yeah. Sorry, no,
but, No. So the most wonderful thing I took note of what you said is the fact that one cardinal mistake I think we do in most relationships is when you take it for granted. I think that is the beginning of the death of that relationship, whatever it is. And we do have that leeway with our family, like you said, where we just assume, but it just becomes multiple times better when you stop taking them for granted. Suddenly, first they get surprised saying, "What happened to her? Why is she?" And then gradually it just becomes much healthier, I feel. And obviously in relationship and also in friendships. Like we are not in school or college anymore where there is a certain setup where you come back every morning. You know what I mean? Like इसके साथ कल बात नहीं किया तो सुबह same desk पे बैठी है वो तो friendship. But now we are at a life stage where there is no one setup where you have to come every day. So if you don't invest time and effort, you'll invariably part ways. You like, why should I call you? Like I have 10 other things to do. So
Yeah.
gradually these relationships just rot and they just मुरझा जाते हैं वो ऐसा.
That's so true. And you, like you said, like you take that extra day. So you have to take that extra time. You have to choose friendship over convenience a lot of times.
Yeah.
But that's because it's so rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, because the convenience
everyone's not
that
cool like us.
yeah,
Sorry.
the convenience that offers is you can't compare it only. Like you said, sometimes you just sit with your friends and just say, यार guys, मैंने ये बोल दिया यार उसको यार. And you're like, अरे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था यार. हाँ मुझे पता है but बोल दिया यार. तो like ओके ठीक है अब क्या करना अब तो हो गया यार चल कोई बात नहीं यार भाई. हम लोग हैं यार. You know, so
संभाल लेंगे.
माने ठीक है यार लगता है. Oh, man. And the one thing that also happened to me, and it's just coincidental that you brought it up, is that I have, unlike you, where you said you've always sort of had a good relationship with your family. Also, for me, it was all about friends. Like family was not there only in my mind for a long time. So I use the same principle which you said now to deal with, like to in my family equation. Where like I'll do the same which I do with my friends, and that is working wonders. So like yeah, so that I just wanted to speak
That's so
say it
nice.
out
So
loud.
I'm so glad that makes sense and that resonated. Because
Yeah,
it's a good rule, right? Like you treat
it's a
another
great
person.
rule. It's a great rule. Like for instance, like अभी कोई दोस्त का बर्थडे आता है तो बहुत एक्साइटेड हो जाते हैं इसको ये गिफ्ट दूंगा ये करूंगा ऐसे करूंगा. बट से बहन का बर्थडे आता था तो करते नहीं थे. Now I've put that benchmark. I'll do the same thing. It has suddenly become so much better. Now every year on her birthday, I ask her, what do you want? What can I send? And the usual thing I do with my friends, uske liye, like, you know, I usually surprise my friends with a book and a note and all that.
Yes.
So I've started doing that with my sister now. Like every time I go, there is something for her. And she gets very like, "Arey, kya ho gaya yaar, bhai?"
That's lovely. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Like I have your book, it's right here. I have to get it. But and I'm reading it by the way. I'm halfway through it.
Yes.
It's very good. It's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
It's A Room of Her Own by Virginia Woolf. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to be finishing it this weekend. But these small things make so much sense because they make people feel valued. I say thank you, please, sorry, can you do this? Is it possible? I really appreciate it to my mom now because pehle I just take it for granted whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, do you have the time? Is this okay? Is this fine? She feels much nicer about it, you know, like it's
Oh my God, it is so true. The last time I called my mom for we are not really phone person, but बीच बीच में we call. And I called her and by default I said कि अभी बात कर सकती हैं. And मेरी मम्मी को वो question समझा ही नहीं. And that itself is very embarrassing. Because my mom will always ask this, na? Like, are you free? Free ho, 2 minute hai. And when I asked her, she didn't understand only. And that's so embarrassing as the kid. Ki for our parents, it's like, what are you asking? Of course I'm free. You have called. I'm free for how much ever time you want me. And that's just
yeah.
that just makes you think, saying, oh my God, yes, I have never said. और लाइक माय रिएक्शन इज ऑलवेज लाइक हाँ 5 मिनट फ्री है बोलिए या फिर नहीं नहीं मैं आधे घंटे में फ्री होके अच्छे से कॉल करता हूँ यू नो बट फॉर देम यू it's the single most important thing at that moment.
Yeah, it really is. They prioritize you. And even now, I still end up doing it. I still slip up. Like sometimes a mom will call and I'll be in a bad mood and I'll just be like, I can't talk right now. And then, but now what I've started doing is I actually have it from the other day. I say, I'm really sorry. I woke up late. I have a headache. I'm sorry for my tone. And this I would not offer before. I would just call and talk normally. And then she would just have to like feel that slight rejection from your child when you just call to check on them. So now I say sorry. And I'm just thinking, I said, मैं अपनी पूरी जिंदगी रैंडम लोगों के बेटों को सॉरी बोलते आ रही हूँ मैं, जब मैं उन्हें डेट कर रही हूँ कि
Hmm.
सॉरी मैं अपनी माँ को कभी नहीं बोला है कि सॉरी कि मैं गंदे मूड में थी. So it's like अब मैं ये fully I just do this. Like अगर मैंने even if I slip up, because it's hard, I've learned this pattern of taking my family for granted for a very long time. I apologize immediately
Yeah.
or as soon as I realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just taking a cue from what you said. Our moms would also have headaches, would also have other stress, and blah blah. Too many things happening in their life.
Yeah.
But I don't remember any time that we called and like, sorry, I just had a thing with your Masi, so can I call you back in an hour? It's all
Bad
like, yeah. Oh, this conversation was very important, Durush. Okay, I want to now. I was when we talked about therapy. I gave a very basic analogy about mental health to therapy and physical health to workout and gym, etc. Right? And again, that's one thing that is the most recent development in my life. I think over the past few months that I've started doing it. I have started
Nice.
working on like the physical aspect of my life where I just try and do some things, and I've seen some changes. More importantly, you just feel like the sense of achievement, number one, quickly. Secondly, you just feel like a more confident person. You feel like clothes look slightly better on you, and when you go, you feel like, okay, yeah, I work out, yeah. And thirdly is the validation that sometimes comes from like very random people, where somebody just like on shoot or something, the dress dada comes in, he's like, sir, kuch kar rahe hain kya aajkal? And I'm like, hey, thanks.
You're like, Dress Dada, do you want me?
But Uruj, what has been your relationship or equation with staying strong in gym and workout and just physical exercise? Your journey with it.
Yeah, I was always a very athletic child. So I was in my school's football team also. I was very bad.
Hmm.
That's not the point because only 6 girls played, but I was
Yeah.
one of them and I was very bad at it. I was in defense because
Yeah.
I was a very aggressive child.
Hmm.
So when har sham ko niche jaake I had to play games and I had to get that energy out.
Hmm.
As I grew up, of course, I became more vain. So
Hmm.
instead of exercising, I would starve myself. I would try to look smaller and thinner and like wear my crop tops. And I had a very like
Hmm.
in the mid the thing is I love eating. I love eating. But in my college years, I remember it was just 2 years. But for 2 years, I was very strange with food. And I
Hmm.
will never go back to that again. But I would skip meals and I tried to be small and I was just an unhealthy time. Uske baad I was like, I can't do this anymore. मैं थोड़ा feminist literature पढ़ लिया and I was like, मैं खा रही हूँ पकौड़े हो गया अब मेरा. तो मैं फिर खाने लगी. I was like, yeah, this is feminism. मैं खाने
Yeah.
लगी.
Yeah.
But I was like, मैं health के बारे में भूल ही गई ना. You can
Hmm.
stop thinking about looking sexy and hot to an unhealthy degree. I think we all want to look hot, which is okay.
Hmm.
But but you still have to be strong. And I started working on 3 years ago. I have a great trainer, and his name is Pankesh Asrani. He's very good. I go thrice a week to him, and the person who pushed me to go to gym was Abhishek.
Okay, Uruj, as the last topic, I know that you've talked about a lot of things that contributed to you being a comedian eventually, like whether it was your friendships or being in Mumbai or therapy and studying psychology and a lot of things. But what role did cinema or like especially Disney characters and Disney movies played in your like your path toward being a stand-up comedian?
Oh man, yes. Disney characters have shaped I am half Hannah Montana and half Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. I used to watch all the Disney Channel shows. I'm sorry, there's some slight noise from construction, but I'll be louder than the
No, no, I
construction.
can't hear. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, when I would watch Disney Channel shows, I knew I wanted to be funny. And I am funny and I want to be the funny girl. That's where I learned the funny girl character from. That's where I started. Like, घर पे कुछ हो रहा था and it's disturbing. I would start writing funny like diary entries about it. And that was writing practice. A lot of my
Mm.
show is actually me reading my diary entries towards the end.
Mm. Mm.
And they're so funny. And I was like, oh, I realized that I have practiced writing funny for a long time from watching Disney Channel shows and being like, I want to be like that girl. I used to think for the longest time that I want to be an actress. And I realized as I grew up that I just want to be funny. in front of people. So for me, I thought I could do that on screen. Then I found out stand-up exists, and the dream of acting died. And I was like, so it was never real, actually. It was, or like I can still do it. Like if I have the skill, if I acquire the skill, I can still pursue it. But it's not strong. That dream is not strong. So I know I don't have to take it seriously. But stand-up came because I practiced being funny by watching Disney Channel shows, thinking being a funny girl has merit. And I just love everything about comedy from there. That's what pushed me to it. That childish humor has shaped who I am and my personality and my approach to things. And maybe if it wasn't for those shows, I would be a different personality only. So yeah, Disney Channel shows have definitely pushed me on the path of liking humor. Also, I really love rom-coms. I've gotten into a phase of watching again. And now that I have new belief in myself, I really want to write a funny rom-com someday.
Someday, inshallah, will be done. Let's manifest and get it done. Yes, lots of brand work for both of us and a rom-com where I would audition and maybe possibly get selected for some role.
I'm writing a role for you. It's done. And please give us collaborative brand work.
Yes, let's do it. Thank you, Urush. Thank you so much for being on Random Musings and talking about all these things. Okay, so of course, now we'll move on to the fun part, which is rapid fire. It is, like I say, our the rapid fire or random musings is very standard. The idea is just so people get to know new things, sometimes new recommendation basis what you said, and for you to just be on your toes and answer questions. So how it works, Uruj, is we'll go through 10 questions. Only rule is you don't have any time to think. So you'll have to immediately say what came to your mind. And then we'll get back to all your answers in case you feel like explaining them for like 30 seconds, 1 minute as to why you like it or why whatever. Then we can do that. Okay. Cool. Okay. Rapid fire with Uruj Ashfaq. Okay. Question number 1. Favorite Mumbai restaurant?
Oh, Pedro.
Favorite Indian comedian?
Abhishek Upmanyu.
Favorite international comedian?
Sarah Silverman.
Favorite TV show?
Friends is coming to mind. It's Friends.
Friends. Favorite movie?
Oh my god, I don't know why, but Main Prem Ki Diwani Hu has popped up in my mind. It's really not, but it's rapid, so I'm saying it.
Yes. Okay. One quality of yours you're very proud of?
My ability to be vulnerable. Too much sometimes.
To be vulnerable. One thing you want to change about yourself?
My ability to be vulnerable. It's too much sometimes.
Okay. Favorite thing about growing up in Mumbai?
I love, it's privilege. I love privilege. Why wouldn't it be favorite? It's great to be rich.
Yeah. Favorite book?
Favorite book? To Kill a Mockingbird.
Last, one disadvantage of being a comedian?
That you have no privacy and you are you might not always have stable mental health. That's true, actually.
Nice. That's it. That brings us to the end of 10 questions. We'll just go back to your answers, Uruj, in case you feel like adding something. Okay, favorite Mumbai restaurant, you said Oh Pedro, the one in BKC with modern Goan cuisine. I love it.
It's yum. Although I have been there 4 times, so I don't know why it came to my mind, but I think it has had an impact on me. I really like it. It's very tasty.
Yeah. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Come
And,
go. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's very close to many of the offices that we go for pitch and meetings and events.
Yes.
So it's also one of those things कि यहाँ है तो वो Pedro भी चले जाते हैं एक बार.
खाई लेते हैं वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा.
Yeah. Favorite Indian comedian Abhishek Upmanyu. Do you want to add, like, why do you think Upmanyu you prefer over other comedians apart from
I actually think recently I've been a lot. One though, I mean, he's hilarious. So there's that. Of course, I really like other comics also. I really look up to Biswa and Kanan and Rahul and everyone, like a lot of comics. But Abhishek has also really influenced my comedy, my approach to comedy. And being around him quite recently has been very inspiring. So I have to pick for biases also.
Favorite international comedian, you pick Sarah Silverman.
Yes. I love her.
Any special anything you want to recommend to our audience that one Sarah Silverman thing you have to watch is this?
A Speck of Dust.
Okay.
That is on Netflix. Abhi bhi I think it is, and it's very good. Please watch. What a gal.
Okay. Favorite TV show, Friends. A lot of people have answered Friends in this series of random music. And I know, Uruj, you and I have done a Friends quiz, if you remember. Yes?
Yes.
The Friends themed quiz. Uh, Anything you want to add on Friends?
Friends is great. It's a classic. Don't trash it. It is
Yeah.
what it is for a reason. I love it. It's a comfort show. Another show I'd like to recommend is New Girl, in case people haven't seen
New
it.
Girl. Yes. So New Girl and Friends. Favorite movie? Okay. Tell me why you came up with My Prem Ki Diwani.
Okay. On my TV over here, there is a
हाँ,
channel called The Movie Club. Every
हाँ,
morning I open it, जो भी movie आती है, मैं थोड़ा सा देख लेती हूँ.
same.
तब मैंने 10 देखी, 10 बहाने करके लिखे थे लड़वा. आज मैंने मैं प्रेम की दीवानी हूँ देखी. So that's what I said. And because I'm going through rom-com phase, maybe it came to my mind. But one of my favorite movies is actually movies I haven't seen many. So I always feel like a noob when I'm recommending movies. But I really like this movie called New York Minute. But it's a very like bachkanda movie, like Mary Kate and Ashley की movie है ये.
बचपन
जब भी मैं देख रही हूँ मैं आजकल काफी इंटेंसली बार बार मुझे गीत की लाइंस याद हो गई है सारी और या मुझे एक्चुअली मूवीज रेकमेंड नहीं करनी चाहिए मुझे
हाँ
लगता
नहीं ठीक है मैं प्रेम की दीवानी हूँ एंड
है यू नो
न्यूयॉर्क
व्हाट दैट्स माय रिकमेंडेशन
yeah and I am a movie club person like for the same reason because when I switch on my TV movie club chal raha hota so 5 minutes every morning afternoon whenever I switch it on some random movie I watch like
या
someday some Dhamal I watch for 5 minutes someday some random one of these
जाने
movies
मन
Jane Man comes quite a lot on movie
why do you think जाने मन so much who in the जाने मन production is paying
Jane Man
for
yes
movie club
I was trying to think of this one movie that keeps coming. It is Jane Man. Yes. So dard hai.
Anupam Kher is a dwarf in the movie it's so much is going on in that movie
Yeah, and Akshay Kumar is Ross Geller ka
yes he's
school.
that cross killer
He is Ross. Okay. Then we came to one thing that you think applies to both one quality you're very proud of and one thing you want to change about yourself. You want to add something there? Your ability to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it's great. Helps with work, helps maintain friendships, to be vulnerable, but also like work. I mean, backstage with jokes and stuff. But it has its cons because sometimes you don't have to be vulnerable. Sometimes you have to be strong and you have to be independent and you have to deal with shit yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's the con.
yeah. Favorite thing about growing up in Mumbai? I think we discussed it in the episode as well. We discussed about the fact that it's Mumbai. You
It's
know,
more.
people come here to make a living. You were born here, so that itself is wonderful, wonderful. Favorite book, To Kill a Mockingbird, of course, like one of the best books ever. But anything you want to add on To Kill a Mockingbird?
I think I like that book a lot. I keep going back to it. I not every year, but I read it every few years.
Uh,
Every time it really gets me in the
yeah,
same way,
yeah,
it really hits me where it
yeah,
hurts, and I really
yeah,
it's entertaining. It's
yeah,
also cute and funny. I
yeah,
really like the father in it. I
yeah,
think that type of man he is so beautiful.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I just love the book.
Yeah.
Generally, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And last thing, what disadvantage of being a comedian? You said no privacy, and it affects your mental health as well.
I
Anything you want to add?
I think no privacy is probably inaccurate, but the thing is, I do jokes about my life, so I
Hmm.
have to mind my life.
Okay, in
Or
that sense.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we can fully choose to put things up and not put things up. So,
Correct.
वैसे तो privacy, curiosity तो होगी, but that's okay, लोगों की. You can always guard things.
Hmm.
But because I'm not more observational, I'm more personal. तो उसके लिए I thought no privacy.
That's it. That brings us to the end of the episode, Uruj. Thank you so much. Um, it's been an honor that you took out time for this. I always say the best gift one can give to anyone is time. So taking out time and attention is itself, I feel a lot of gratitude. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, I always wanted you to be a part of random music. So I'm glad that I we finally could do it. But thank you so much for taking out time, Arush. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I know you want to end it, but I just want to say, like, real quickly, thank you very much for having me. I feel very conscious about talking about myself, and it feels very self-indulgent. But I genuinely feel really nice that I did this. I don't feel
Yeah.
any cringe. I feel happy. I feel confident.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad I did this with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Arush. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.